got this. Fuck.
Goosebumps.
そして死ね
I think we will witness the full closure and the full healing. Of course, healing doesn't end, but at least in this context, I think we'll see her finally reconciling with her broken self, reconciling with the death and the tragedy of Gilbert by fully expressing that through writing her first and the most important letter to Gilbert. Hello friends, my name is Benoit Kim, a psychotherapist and educator. I decided to record the final 2 episodes of Violet Evergarden together because of overlapping themes and concepts between episode 11 and 12 from my research. And not going to lie, I feel a little bit burnt out with the series because of how emotionally heavy and draining it is, and my Violet Evergarden recording days frankly feel like another extension of my trauma sessions. But of course, I'll be giving the season finale, episode 13, Auto Memory Dolls and I Love You. What a great title, the crescendo it deserves toward the second half of this video. And Death Note will be our second series after Violet Evergarden finishes, so make sure you subscribe now and follow along. This video is sponsored by Assassination Zero and Tiertanas, our new sponsor tier. Shout out to the best patron family, and let's tune in.
クトリガルに侵攻していた和平反対勢力はほぼ鎮圧された。だが一部の反対派は逃亡。他の勢力との合流を狙っていると考えられる。そこで君の部隊の力を借りたい。ディートフリート・ブーゲンビリア海軍大佐。なぜ陸軍ではなく海軍の私を？
Good question.
君も分かっていると思うが、大陸全土の今後に関わる重要な指揮だ。
Whoa, entire continent.
不測の事態に対して考えうる手段は全て用意しておきたい。陸軍の特殊部隊は解散し、有事の力不足は否めない。だが幸いにも君の隊は現役だ。しかも今回の作戦に海軍はうってつけと来ている。厄介事は弟がいないのなら兄に頼め。反対勢力が和平交渉を妨害しに来るのは間違いない。奴らの動きに何か目星は？和平の象徴として施設と民間のドールが乗り、ディスタリーからガルダリクに向かうのだが、二度と争いは起きてはならん。近隣部隊を自由に使って構わん。必ず阻止してくれ。和平か。
So immediately since the get-go of this episode 12, the music is very dramatic, very intense, foreshadowing conflict or some sort of a battles that's to come. And it's interesting that Gilbert's brother said this, now that Gilbert is gone, now you're trying to use me and shift all the responsibility up to me. And it's interesting what the responses of the higher brass, other ranking officers, they were all silent. I wonder what the dynamic was there and what prompted Gilbert's brother to say what he said. Is it because he's tired of battles? He's tired of going back to any sort of warfare efforts, even though this effort is to fighting against the anti-peace extremist terrorist organizations. And last thing I would say as a veteran myself, a lot of things in life is 90% preparation and 10% execution. Any rock stars, any artists, any touring bands, they spend most of their times in their mundane practice, day to day. They practice for 90% and for that 10% of performing on the stage. And likewise in battle, 90% is strategizing, brainstorming, collecting intel, doing recon about the oppositions, and 10% is the actual battle. So it's very interesting that I think in this conversation alone, it sort of denotes the importance of preparation in life. Wow, what a landscape. Deja vu, she's parachuting again. This is after her helping out Aiden and his dying letter request, of course, after saving him against the anti-peace terrorists. It's getting serious. Potential continental impact. So much casualty, so much death.
CH 郵便車の方ですね。ええ、 今後の予定をご案内させていただきます。現在本館は人々〇〇に雷電港を出発、翌一蓋〇〇にディスタリーに到着の予定です。そこで待機している特別列車に徳志様と乗車していただきます。皆様の安全を期して途中までを船での移動とさせていただいております。
ありがとう。
貴様らの社長は来ていないのか。戦争が終わった途端にさっさと退役しよう。
Gilbert's brother.
誰よあんた。
ブーゲンビリア大佐。
ブーゲンビリア、バイオレットの少佐の。
その兄だ。
何の用です？
お前たちを目的地まで護衛して調印式を成功させるのが俺の任務。
Bodyguards.
民間のドールというのはお前一人か。
ええ、バイオレットなら今回は来ません。
それは何よりだ。にしてもまだドールなんぞをやっているのか。あの人間もどきの出来損ない。
Damn.
ちょっとあんた。
確かにあいつは出来損ないかもしれないけど、それでも必死にやってる。あいつが書いた手紙で救われてる人もいる。
バイオレット素敵な手紙を書くんです。
Yes, she does.
すっと人の心に滑り込んで自分が素直になれる手紙。
Just a quick comment that the Navy soldier in the beginning who saluted at Catalia and the other postal boy, I forgot his name, that's actually inaccurate because soldiers do not salute towards civilians. Soldiers only salute to higher ranking officers, period. So a little bit of military inaccuracy there. But one thing I want to close out with this quick pause is Gilbert's brother still is highly despised of Violet because of their backstory, because obviously Violet killed a lot of Gilbert's brothers, soldiers, and so on. But then Catalia and the other postal boy, they're defending Violet. And this is a very beautiful thing to close out. She may not be perfect, she might be flawed, but she is still trying her best. With Catalia saying beautifully that Violet's letters pierce through and go through people's hearts by deepening relationships, deepening emotions, and deepening the connections with themselves. And that's the beauty of Violet's transformation and evolution thus far. She might not be perfect, and she still might be struggling with aspects of emotionality and connecting with herself and other aspects of the human experience, because it's only been a few years since she's embarked on this healing and emotional growth journey. Nevertheless, she is still bringing so much healing and joy and happiness and deepening relationships as a conduit, as a vessel of emotions through letter writing for so many. And here's my encouragement, I hope, for everyone watching. If Violet can go through such a dramatic and beautiful journey of growth and development and evolution, what does that speak about the rest of us? So please don't give up. Whatever you're going through, I'm not sure, but please hang in there. Please put in the work. Please derive inspiration and comfort in seeing Violet's astronomical and beautiful growth in the last 12 episodes so far. Because as Catalia said, she is not perfect, nevertheless, she writes beautiful letters that transcends emotions, space and time, and even life and death.
間に合ったか。
収容所から脱出したガルダリク兵士1041名到着いたしました。
遠いところご苦労だった。
メルクロフ准将閣下にはインテンスの時の
Brigadier General, damn, that's really high up. It's one of the highest general ranks.
インテンスか。あの屈辱は忘れがたい。
There are the anti-peace
なお、
extremists.
陽動作戦は成功。南のふぬけどもは我々がクトリガルで全滅したと思っているで。
よろしい。我々はその間に南北の交通を破壊。
See?
その混乱に乗じて再びインテンスを奪還
The
する。
other side predicted this. That's why they hired the Navy services. They predicted the peace treaty effort will be interrupted.
これを辿っていけばライデンシャフトリヒまで行ける。この鉄道で俺たちの国にも食料や資源が入ってくる。他と南が和平で結ばれるんだ。
If they survive this attack,
もう争わなくてよくなる。そうしたら俺の仕事も増えて大忙しだ。ジョーちゃんの手紙をまた運ぶこともあるかもしれんな。
is that the same pilots that dropped Violet off? That airdropped her for Aiden's episode in the last? Is that the same pilot? Sounds like they are pretty familiar with each other. I don't remember his face from last episode, but is that the same pilot? What a beautiful landscape. Wow. Golden hour. Oh shit, was that golden hour from fire burning? Or from the sunset? Hudgens. Oh.
ただいま。
I thought Hudgens had a child.
もうすぐ帰ってくるかな。
Is he talking about Catalia
昨
or
日から
Violet?
今日にかけて沿線で火事があった模様です。
場所はわかるか？
確認させます。
グランデッツァ大鉄橋、これが完成したから南北の鉄道が通るようになったんだ。
Must be a massive railroad. Wow, what a marvel of human engineering.
インテンス。
Intense. Is that the keyword for this episode? That's the second time they said it,
なん
intense.
だ？
Oh shit.
火事か？
違います。爆発の跡があります。
Here we go. Anti-peace extremists at work cause more casualties and death.
準将閣下に伝えろ。無事潜入に成功した。
Assassinations in place.
了解しました。
なんで動かないの？
近くで火事だって。
バンダルさん、あの列車のそばに降ろしてください。
Yo.
無茶言うな。
同僚があの中にいます。お願いします。
じゃあね、捕ま
I
れ。
think it's the same pilot from the previous episode.
確認されただけで昨日から7件の火災が起きています。
すべて鉄道周辺。しかも徐々にこちらに近づいてるな。
和平反対派ですか。
ああ、次はこの車両を狙ってくるぞ。敵の動きを探るために先行偵察隊を線路沿いに送れ。
了解しました。直ちに準備させます。
What a
Violet.
fateful encounter.
あなたどうしてここに？カトレアさんはどこに向かわれるのですか？ガルダリクとの和平調印式に。近くに爆発の跡がありました。私も同行します。ダメよ。あなたは会社に戻るの。ですが、
なぜ貴様がここにいる？
クトリガルの任務から帰る途中でお見かけいたしましたので。
クトリガルだと？
任務の遂行中にガルダリク軍の残党を見ました。
Oh, intel.
確かに見たのか。
Very important intel. Wow.
話を聞かせろ。
バイオレット？
I have a feeling that Violet is sort of going to tap into her old identity as a weapon of war. Maybe not killing people, because in last episode with Aiden, when she saved him, she was able to put everyone down, knock them out without causing any fatal casualties. So I don't think she's gonna kill anyone, but something tells me here that she's gonna get pulled in back to the battle, not just as the Violet Evergarden, the bodyguards to protect Catalia and the postal office, but I think she's needed with her skill sets. Because just because we shed and are evolving past our old identity doesn't mean they're non-existent. They're still a part of us. They may no longer define who we are. They may not be the most shining, prevalent part of who we are, but nevertheless, they're still a part of who we are. So I think Violet is going to get dragged into this battle. And last thing I'll say is to my earlier comment, 90% of war is preparations and intel collection. So what the anti-peace or the anti-peace faction, what they do not know is Violet, who witnessed the remaining army with Aiden's battle last episode, she has collected this insider intel that no one else knows. So the anti-peace extremists think they're ahead of them because they're like, nobody knows we're here. Nobody knows that they survived the battle from earlier dialogue between those two extremists. But instead, Violet now is going to disclose the very, very crucial intel that I'm guessing will be the pivotal and instrumental piece to turn the tide of this battle and most likely bring back the victory for the South because of this crucial piece of intel. And like I said, intel is everything, just like information is power.
上空から爆発痕と9カ所の黒煙を視認しました。
やはりこの鉄道を足止めして直接攻撃する気か。
It's
前方の
confirmed.
安全が確認でき次第、大至急発進させる。貴様もさっさと降りろ。
そのような状況ならば私も大佐ご命令を。
貴様は今も命令が欲しいだ
Not
け
true.
の道
She's
具だ。
evolved a lot.
違います。
Nice.
私は
Wow.
失せろ。
That's amazing what Violet just did. She's like, no, not anymore. I am no longer the weapon of war that only follows orders. I am no longer who I used to be. And we saw her looking down, crunching her fist. And that's amazing. And that's the concept of identity reformation. Definition right here. Reformulating who we are by reinventing who we used to be to become who we are and who we want to become. And she's beautifully tapped into the final stage of our identity formation, definition right here. Not just accepting who we used to be, not just accepting the conditioning, how we were raised, circumstances and upbringing, but rather the taking the audacity and by putting in the work through diligence and the ups and downs of life and reinventing who we are. And Violet has tapped into that beautifully. So that's why she stood up to Gilbert's brother by saying that no, I am no longer the weapon of war, but rather the vessel that deepens human relationships. Beautiful.
ブーゲンビリア海軍大佐から報告です。反対派と思われる破壊活動が鉄道周辺で発生。特殊の乗った列車を狙っている模様。
Now they're
何
sharing the
としても
intel.
守り抜くように伝えろ。全軍に出動準備。周辺諸国にも連絡。再び戦争にだけはさせるな。
Nice.
メルクロフ中将
Preparation is key, like I said,
先
keyword.
行部隊から連絡です。
ディスタリーを出た特別列車に和平施設が乗っていてイシドルが潜入に成功した。列車を襲撃して和平を振り出しに戻す。
Another quick pause for anyone that's interested in the psychology behind radicalizing someone's belief. Because haven't you always wondered, how can so many innocent kids or innocent people become radicalized extremists? Either it's in the Middle East, like ISIS before, in Syria, and so on. How can innocent people who are willing to become martyrs and give up their lives for the sake of whatever belief, whatever purpose? In this case, the same thing. None of these anti-peace extremists and terrorists, because terrorists are any group of people that bring terror and who cause unnecessary death and conflicts to innocent people, so they are terrorists. I'm sure none of these people were born as extremists. They were all innocent once, but they're willing to die and kill other innocent people who want nothing but peace for the sake of their radical ideal, whatever that may be. So I'm not going to go into too much here because that could be 40 minutes in itself. But for anyone that's interested in the psychology behind radicalization or extremifying someone's belief, feel free to look it up. It's very, very fascinating how we can recondition innocent minds into the minds of extremists.
出発後ディスタリー駅で爆発発生。死傷者はなし。
やはりか。なんとか今回は切り抜けたが、周辺の警戒を厳にしろ。
Okay, so they at least
近づけ
departed.
させるな。そして破壊されると復旧が難しいと。
Preparation.
グランデッツァ大撤去。トンネルは建設に10年かかっている。破壊されたら南北縦断鉄道は当分使用不能だ。
During that quiet solitude scene of Violet, what do you think Violet was thinking about? I wonder what she was contemplating and pondering by herself in her mind. Is she thinking about the conflict and battles that's to come? Is she thinking about her old identity versus her new identity she successfully reformed and reformulated, like I talked about? Is she thinking about the fallen soldiers with this anticipation of going to another battle? Is she thinking about the safety of Catalia and her other passengers that's on board on this train? I wonder what her internal reality is in that room, in that solitude scene, because as we know, every scene serves a purpose in this show.
現在乗客は3両目1番と2番のコンパートメントだけで1番には若い男性1名2番には初老の男性1名それが特殊だと思われます4両目以降の車
分かった
They're also sharing their intel amongst themselves with the anti-peace faction. So intel is crucial on both sides. Oh boy. Probably got their throat slit. Assassination. Oh, here we go. Oh, they're going to separate the train. Oh.
兵力の一挙無力化を狙っていたのか。
今の揺れは
バイオレット特使様をお連れいたします。お二人はここにいてください。
Pause here. Remember what I said? Just because we're becoming a new, better, improved versions of who we are doesn't mean we forget and our past is non-existent. We see that Violet has entered into a focused tunnel vision. Pun intended, because they're about to go through a tunnel. Violet has reactivated the past identity of hers that she's no longer proud of and no longer enjoys. But this is a beautiful thing in this case because it's a sacrificial act. It's a sacrificial love because she's willing to revisit and tap into her traumatic past of an old dying identity of a weapon of war for the sake of peace, for the sake of safety, for the sake of love and compassion for her peers, like Catalia and so on. But it's very interesting that Violet shifted her mode instantaneously by turning down the lights and going into a mission to, I'm sure, defeat the enemies, by also bringing back a special peace diplomat or the personnel.
後方で数人、前方でも物音がしました。
She's in her soldier mode.
残された兵力はほぼゼロに近い。お前は中の人間を守れ。
了解しました。
やはり命令が欲しいだ
Not true.
違います。
Nice.
けか。違わない。貴様は道具だ。
What a dick.
Rude man.
敵を皆
I hope he has a nice Christmas.
Gosh.
平然と殺すんだろう。
誰も殺しません。
It's true.
武器はいりません。
Nice, Violet. Nice. F yeah, bro.
道具じゃないなら何だと言うんだ。貴様、ライデンシャフトリヒの。
Oh, it's the same group.
あの時のクトリガルのガキはどうなった？無様に死んだか？お前が怒ることないだろう。あいつが死んだところで誰も悲しまない。
Not true. Family and Violet does. Wow.
助かったぜ。
The courage for Violet to resist her urge to killing, that is her growth. The epitome. Beautiful. Well, let's go. Some ass-kicking scene. Woman? Yeah. She's way more. Oh.
思い出した。ライデンシャフトリヒの戦闘人形。
She is famous and infamous.
なぜこのようなことを？
お前たちに踏みにじられた人を取り返すためだ。
You've taken away more, bro.
戦争を始める気ですか？
お前の中で戦争は終わっているのか。私もお前も暴力の記憶は火傷のように残って永遠に終わらない。
現実では終わっています。
終わったものか。我々は戦争が終わり、死者も少女も栄光に迎えられるのを夢見て戦ったが、現実はどうか。上層部は今やお前たちの言いなり、命を懸けて民を守ろうとした兵士たちは役立たずと罵られ、石を投げられる。我々は全てに裏切られ捨てられた。ならば全てを破壊して何が悪い。
誰も殺したくありません。
Quick pause before the fight scene. This is very, very significant and symbolic. Violet is grabbing onto the emblem, the ember that represents and memorializes Gilbert, of course. She's doing that in part to memorialize Gilbert, but she's also struggling internally. Again, she's caught in the middle of her past identity and who she has become now, the new identity, the identity of a healer, of a messenger, of a scriber, of a letter writer. And this is also interesting because there are two sides to every story, period. To us, the South is the good guys, right? Because Violet and everyone that we love is from the South in this setting. And so to us, the North are the bad guys. But to the North, those people are also the same people who are trying to protect their own home, look after each other like the fallen soldiers, like the discontent this Brigadier General is talking about, that they were abandoned and betrayed by the leaders, and the fallen soldiers that never got peace. They never got what they were promised with this air quote end of war. So obviously, who are we to judge? Because we're not actually in this reality of this setting for the anime. But just a friendly reminder to all of us that there are two sides of every story. And those, based on what side we put ourselves in, it will distort our cognitions, definition right here, cognitive distortions. And we will make sides, or we will pick sides and side with those that we like. And of course, that's normal. But it's very interesting that the Brigadier General, the anti-peace extremist, shared the reasons why they're trying to sabotage this peace treaty effort. Very interesting. Let's see what Violet does. Activated. Ooh. 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 Oh, she tried to save the enemy too. No. Oh shit, she got shot. Oh no! No! Oh shit.
大事なものか。
おい大丈夫か。
何が起こってんだよ。
Dude, 6 guys?
少佐。
死ね。
Who is it? Here comes a. He saved her.
何をしている。
師匠、この。
Oh shit, he fell off, dude. He's dead.
ディートフリート。
He believes her now that she's not willing to
自分
kill.
すら守れないくせに不殺とはおこがましい。そんな奴を守ろうとしたのか。
もう誰も殺したくないのです。少佐の命令は生きろであって殺せではありません。
戦わない。殺せない戦闘人形などただの足手まといでしかない。だからキルベルトも守れなかったんだ。お前がキルを殺したんだ。だからお前も死んでしまえ。
Two sides of the same story. A lot of unprocessed grief and anger for Gilbert's brother. He never processed them.
生きろと
He's still grieving.
おっしゃったのです。守りたかった。私も守りたかったんです。
Oh shit.
師匠、
Oh, the brother's gonna save Violet.
生きとる。
Did Violet block the bullet with her silver mechanical arm? She. Yo, is that thing bulletproof? Alright, we're going to continue episode 13 and the final season finale. And here we go, episode 13, the season finale. Damn. Oh. She lost her
俺が捨
mechanical
てた道
arm.
具はギルベルトの犬になった。だが両腕を失い主を失い何もかもなくしたその果てになぜかそこに立っていた。
I love that episode 13 starts immediately in continuation of the end of episode 12. So I'm glad that I'm recording these two in one because it would have been weird if I separate them with weekend apart. Think about the power and the significance of Gilbert's brother's internal monologue or dialogue with himself. The tool that I disbanded or discarded has become my brother Gilbert's pet. But after she lost her arms and losing everything else in the world, there she was, standing in front of me, protecting me, and saving me 3 times. Because Violet blocked, I think, at least 2 or 3 bullets from the Brigadier General. And in result, she lost one of her arm because it was shot through and disconnected and destroyed as a result. But this is what I want to highlight on. Violet's transformation and her identity reformation is so powerful that the healing and now the transformation is resonating and permeating through even Gilbert's brother, who, remember, even in the episode 12 in the first half of this video, despised Violet, was angry because of his own survivor's guilt, his own PTSD, and his own extensive unprocessed grief. And for a lot of males, of course also females too, but because males are usually like to externalize and manifest their grief as anger. We outburst outwards, generally speaking, as men. As women, they like to bottle up and go inward. And that's why that's an interesting, very biological difference between man and woman in terms of how we process and express this intricate emotion such as grief. But anyway, Gilbert's brother is so angry throughout since episode 6, not just because Violet used to slaughter his soldiers back in the days, but also because in his mind, Violet failed at protecting the most treasured person in his life, his brother, Major Gilbert. And that's why he was telling Violet that you killed Gilbert. But of course we know she didn't. And she also says it in a very gentle but sad, sobbing manner that I also wanted to protect him. I tried. But here she is, standing as the last barrier, the last frontier of a wall of a protection for Gilbert's brother against the Brigadier General. And that transformation and that conviction for Violet to not kill her enemies, as a result, that's why she was captured and almost got sliced her head off by the Brigadier General before Gilbert's brother coming to rescue. That transformation is so dramatic and so beautifully powerful that now we're witnessing Gilbert's brother having the internal monologue of, holy crap, what am I witnessing? How can the weapon of war that I abandoned and gifted to my brother as his dog now standing in front of me and is the only barrier between life and death? And how can she truly follow through with her conviction of not killing her enemies? Because remember, she was a killing machine, to now a vessel of protection and healing, and as a result saving Gilbert's brother's life. Such a powerful scene. Wow. Man, oh, poor Violet. Re-traumatizing with loss of her arm again. Yet again. Oh! She wanted the thing. Oh! Oh, nice. Okay, we got it. Cool. Oh! See? Now he's on her side. You better, bro. She just saved your life. Don't be a dick. Another quick pause. I just want to say one more very, very important undertone of what just happened there. Healing ripples through. Just like when we do not do the work, when we neglect ourselves, when we're angry, bitter, resentful, whatever other emotions that's unhealthy for us, it ripples through. And we ruin relationships, we become alcoholics, addicts, and so on. But the other side, healing also ripples through. When we do the work, and work is not easy. It's literally called doing the work. So why would work be easy? It's not, but it's worthy. And it will be worthwhile and healthy because it will bring us closer to who we want to become and closer to the life and dreams and aspirations we want to achieve. When we do the work on ourselves and when we tap into healing, it will ripple through and it will be contagious in a very, very beautiful and healthy way. And it will benefit everyone around us. Think about it. All of us comprise of infinite spider webs of life. When we walk past another stranger on the streets, we often forget that person and every strangers out there have infinite web of their own relationship, their own family, their own trauma, their work, circumstances, and so on. But it's an invisible web. We don't see it. But likewise, all of us also have invisible and infinite webs of connections, relationships, and circumstances. So if we do the work and if we bring healing and seek healing for all of us, why wouldn't that benefit everyone else in our lives? Trick question. Of course it does. And that's what we're witnessing here. That through Violet's own conviction of not killing, through Violet's own transformation and commitment to become non-violent, which is the opposite of who she used to be. Of course, that's not her fault. It's so contagious and her healing is so potent, so palpable, that even Gilbert's brother went out of his way to grab the emblem and gave it to Violet because he noticed that it means greatly to her. And now he's also going to soften his heart, let go of his anger and resentment and bitterness against Violet. And I'm sure we will witness mutual forgiveness probably in this episode. And that is the power of healing. So when we heal ourselves, we also heal and benefit everyone else in our lives. Full stop. He's still alive? Oh yeah, she saved him. Oh, the bombs. Oh, shit. Oh, the bombs in the bridge? Oh, with one arm. What is she doing? Oh, she's taking out the bomb? Oh, come on, Violet, you got this! Nice! I just got goosebumps. Holy crap. What a nice kick, dude. Damn. Come on. Oh, shit. You got this. Fuck. 10 more seconds. Two finger. Oh, gosh. She's gonna lose her arm. Yep. Fuck me. But she's gonna get it. Oh, it's gonna hurt her so much, dude. That must be so painful. Oh, gosh. Did she do it? Please. Oh, she did it. Oh, so stressful. Oh, she did it by losing both of her silver arms. Save her. Oh. Oh my gosh. Episode 12 was slow, but 13 really is peaking. So much has happened in that scene. Not just, of course, the obvious of Violet and the I feel so bad for forgetting his name, because he literally saved by disarming the bomb by kicking it off the bridge. So my apologies, I forgot your name, my man. But I do remember that you rolled your ankle in the previous episodes, so you couldn't deliver the mail. But now, who rolled his ankle previously that went out of duty, now actually used his ankle and saved the bridge and also the train and all of his passengers along with Violet. So shout out to you, my man. But I want to zoom in on the symbolism and the psychological significance of Violet yet again losing both of her silver mechanical arms. Let's go all the way back to episode 1. What is the origin story of Violet losing both of her arms? By trying to save Gilbert, but also it's the cost and the sacrifice of her as a weapon of war, as a tool, as a dog. So she lost both of her arms in the final scene with Gilbert that ended up killing Gilbert with that big rock rolling through the tunnel. So there are two causes of Violet losing her biological arms. One is she was a killing machine, and it's the natural consequences and the cost of war. Two, by trying to save Gilbert in that big tower scene before the showdown, before the explosion. So those are the two main reasons. Flash forward to this exact scene in the present tense. What is the cause of her losing both of her arms? Instead of two causes, there's only one. The only and the primary reason of Violet losing both of her silver mechanical arms is trying to save people. She lost one arm by trying to save Gilbert's brother with the standoff against a brigadier general extremist. And secondly, she lost the second arm by trying to disarm the bomb, which she succeeded in doing so at the cost of her entire arm falling apart. And just because those are mechanical arms does not mean that she experiences no pain. That's ludicrous. Because why? The mechanical arms are still attached to her body, the shoulder part. So I can't even imagine the pain of having her mechanical arm yanking out of her body. Can you imagine the pain? Yet here she was, deterred and convicted to saving everyone else, because she is no longer a soldier that kills, but rather a doll that brings healing, life, and deepening relationships and joy for everyone else around her. And that is the reason why we're revisiting this deja vu, this parallels of her re-losing her arms, but the reasons are entirely different this time around. And this is the peak and the solidification of her journey, her growth, and her healing. Such a beautiful and powerful scene. Whoa, it's winter already? They did it, peace treaty. Let's go. It's not just between two countries, it's global peace. Oh, I guess like World War I, World War II, it happened between many nations. that had a global ripple effect.
終わったのに。
終わったのに戦争は終わったのに
She does understand that all too well. Survivor's guilt,
手紙にはこう書いてくれるかな
the grief, the sorrow.
俺たちのところに生まれてきてくれてありがとうって
Fatherly love,
はい。
just like Gilbert's.
航空祭しばらく戦争で中止になってたし、5年ぶりだからみんな楽しみにしてるのよね。私もね、手紙書こうかなって思ってるの。
Hmm.
道路になる前、私踊り子してたの。お店には軍の人もたくさん来てた。亡くなった人も随分いてね。その人たちに書こうかなって。バイオレットも書いてみたら。
Hmm.
私はまだ自分の手紙を書いたことがありません。
Wow.
じゃあ記念すべき初めての手紙ね。今のあなたが思う通りに書けばいいのよ。心のままにね。
Quick pause here. I think this is foreshadowing of I'm guessing, and my prediction is that Violet is probably going to write a letter to who? Major Gilbert. Because why? This is a season finale. This is the final episode of the series. And for how much growth and journey, and of course with ongoing struggle with many aspects of this human condition and the universal human experience she still struggles with, no one can deny her tremendous and unspeakable growth and evolution. So it makes sense that in this final episode of the series, we will witness, hopefully, and most likely, I'm guessing, she will finally write a letter to Gilbert. The one person that catalyzed all of the series, everything that happened to Violet. The one person that meant the most to Violet. The one person that caused all the grief, but also that inspired Violet to start this journey of becoming auto memory doll by trying to decipher and understand what does it mean when Gilbert said, I love you, which is also the name of this title. So I think we will witness the full closure and the full healing. Of course, healing doesn't end, but at least in this context, I think we'll see her finally reconciling with her broken self, reconciling with the death and the tragedy of Gilbert by fully expressing that through writing her first and the most important letter to Gilbert. So I think we'll be able to see that in this episode. And the one last thing I'll say is we saw in the earlier scene Violet was standing with the fireworks and all the celebrations of the war is over. And we see that Violet was just standing there silent with this transition to writing a letter for this grieving father who probably knows that the son will never come back because he's most likely dead. Those two scenes were shown together. Why? That's another depiction of Violet's ongoing survivor's remorse, survivor's guilt, her ongoing sorrow and contemplation of why did I survive? Why did everyone else die but me? Why did I get to come home? Why did I get to get saved and get plugged into because of the grace of Hudgens and so on? And here's the thing, not everything has a why. If we question that why did we survive, why us? Why me? Why are we the fortunate and the lucky ones? Of course, that question is coming out of self-blame, but also it's coming out of a good place. At the same time, if we ask that question, the other side is also equally true, which means that why did other people die? That means there is a reason why other people died, and there is a reason why we survived. But that is not the case. Not everything has a why. Full stop. There is no why behind life and death. There is no why behind tragedies. Things just happened. It is what it is. But rather, we can figure out how and what is our new why of surviving and our new why by tapping to our untapped potential. because that is the best thing we can do for other fallen soldiers and for other people that do not have the luxury and the fortune and the luck, because it is luck in many senses. We need to tap into our privilege of aliveness and why we are alive, rather than incessantly and endlessly beating ourselves up. We survived for the grace of God or universe, whatever you would call it, and so we need to tap into that. But of course, for Violet and many soldiers and veterans who struggle with survivor's guilt, it's coming from a good place because they feel bad and they feel like I should be the one that died. They should have survived, but we did not, and we need to cherish that instead of beating ourselves up.
少佐、
なんだ、
私はもうご不要ですか？
何のことだ。
The conversation that never
処分
happens.
されるけど。
Flashback.
君はそんなに私の命令が欲しいのか。
Oh, he did say
命令は
something.
私のすべてです。
We never saw this scene.
いや、
He did tell her.
誰の命令も聞かなくていい。自由に生きなさい。
それがご
Oh,
命令で
yeah,
すか？
the old
どうして
Violet.
命令だと思うんだ。そうなのであれば、幼い君を抱いて帰りはしなかった。君をずっと私だけのそばに置かなかった。
True.
分かっているはずだ。怒っているのも辛いのも君を。私と同じ心があるだろう。ないというのならその顔は何だ。急に怒鳴られて嫌だろう。
わかりません。
理不尽に言われて。
嘘ではありません。
Oh, what a heartbreaking scene. Damn.
自分でも。どこにでも行けるのです。それだけなのです。
Oh, the music and the scene. Fuck. It's
小さ
painful
か
for
った
all
君
of
を
us.
そんな風にしてしまったのは。
No, it
私なのに。
wasn't you. Conditioning happened
なのに。
before you did.
もう数時間で決戦だ。この話はまた今度にしよう。
Quick pause. I just want to revisit and highlight the symbolic representation of the starry sky. I believe it's from episode 8. I could be wrong, but I think it's from episode 8. And I talked about the starry sky represents the eternal love that transcends space and time and life and death between Violet and Gilbert. So we see the starry sky, this milky galaxy, in that scene next to the bonfire. And I love that the writers and the anime, of course, Kyoto Animation, that saved the unfinished scene or the unrevealed scene of the dialogue between Gilbert and Violet. I thought they never had that conversation, and I thought Gilbert never answered Violet's question of, will I never receive orders from you? But Gilbert did answer, and Gilbert gave her permission to live free. You no longer have to receive any more orders after this war, not just from me, but from anyone. And that's such a re-emphasis on Gilbert's amazing love for Violet. This all-encompassing love is so powerful and so palpable through the screen. And we see that Gilbert even went a step further by yelling at her, trying to conjure up and trying to awaken her unexpressed or unrevealed or unrealized emotions to prove a point that Violet, you're not a lifeless mechanical tool, but rather you're a life-full human being that has a heart just like me, that has emotions just like me. And that's what breaks Gilbert's heart. And of course, it breaks all of our hearts. But what a beautiful scene. And that's like the true final missing piece of the puzzle this whole time. Because I thought that Violet was struggling even more because she never got to have that conversation with Gilbert. But it sounds like she did. And that's beautiful.
心はあるのです。
Yes, you
あ
do.
ったのです。あの時も。ですが、わからないのです。少佐に何を伝えたいか？
バイオレットちゃん、締め切りは今日の夕方だけど、朝までに書ければ俺が事務局に持っていく。だから書くんだ。短くても1行でもいいから。
Quick pause. Did you see the camera zooming in and looking at the two dolls sitting by on Hajin's table? Remember, Kyoto animation does not do anything that's pointless. So why did camera just zoom in and looked at and paused at the scene of the dolls sitting on Hajin's table that we can even see right now in this scene? It's a juxtaposition between this dolls that's under the sunlight, that's life full, that's colorful, that's not dirty and dusty. What is the most recent doll we saw that was the opposite of that is when Violet attempted to kill herself by strangling herself, the suicide attempt that we saw in the previous episodes. Remember the doll in her room? It was dusty. It was abandoned, seemingly so. It was lifeless, and it was in the dark. There is no sun. Because remember, sun and sunlight represents life. No life can grow without sun, period. So do you see the juxtaposition between the life-full dolls that's very peaceful and clean on Hajin's desk in this scene versus the dusty and abandoned and lifeless dolls, which of course represented Violet's internal struggle, and now this renewed dolls with that camera zooming in scene represents that Violet is indeed a new person, a new being. And that's beautiful.
バイオレットにブーゲンビリアさんとおっしゃるお客様が
Gilbert's brother. They're going to forgive each
あ
other.
りがとうござい
Or
ました。
he's gonna forgive her. That's my prediction.
こっちだ。
Still sounds like a but
昨日まで航空祭の手紙の代筆で忙しかったんだろ。今日は休みなのに会うのが俺で悪かった。
いえ。
大殿のうちの屋敷には来たことはなかったな。驚かないように言っておくが、少し記憶が曖昧になっている。
the mother? Who is that? Oh, is that the mother? Wow.
バイオレットです。母上が会いたいと。
ああ、そうだったわ。
Oh, she knows who
や
she
っと
is.
来たのね。
Oh man, she
母上、
forgot.
ギルベルトは。
Oh, she has dementia, looks like. Oh, in spirit. What a beautiful thing to say, Violet.
あの子の瞳と同じ色だわ。
Yes, it is. Oh, that parallel. Your eyes are
少
beautiful.
佐の瞳は
Yep.
出会った時から美しいです。
それで、あなたギルベルトとはどういう？
少佐は私を拾い、育て、使ってくださいました。ですが、
分かってるわ。インテンスの戦いであの子は。
Oh, she
そうです。
knows.
その話をするために来てもらったのでしょう、母上。
そうだったわね。
She looks so gentle,
あ
the
なた
mother,
のせいではない
just
わ。
like Gilbert's.
あなたが背負わなくていいのよ。ないのに。二人はね、子供の頃からそれは仲のいい兄弟だったのよ。あの子は生きてる。
In my heart.
心の中で。ずっと思って生きていくわ。だって今も。
はい。はい。
What a beautiful dialogue. Quick pause. There's a lot in that scene, but I'll keep it brief because I'm just grateful to watch this series and finish it out today. Gilbert's mother finally explicitly and verbalized by giving Violet the permission to live on. She told, because remember, she is Gilbert's mother, who is grieving the most because as a mother, she lost her son. Think about the power of grief. If you think about language, there is a word for spouse losing their spouse. What do we call that? Widow. What do we call children who lose their parents? Orphans. Which is, I'm guessing, what Violet is. But is there a word, at least not in English language, to describe parents who lose their child? There is no term. There is no word to describe that. To my knowledge, I could be wrong. So if anyone knows otherwise, feel free to comment. That's the detriment and that's a magnitude of grief, at least to my understanding, that there is no word in my knowledge that describes parents who lose their children. So the mother has the most right to be the most heartbroken and to be the most grieving. At the same time, with her grace, with her gentle face, who resembles Gilbert, told Violet these beautiful words of, hey, it's not your fault. Do not carry the burden all by yourself. And another thing that she said beautifully is, we don't need to forget the loved ones that passed away in our lives. We don't need to forget anyone. Because forgetting is not the same thing as giving ourselves the permission to live on. Will our loved ones want to see us being boggled down and caught up and stuck in the grief of the past? No. They want us to live on and move on. And moving on is not the same thing as forgetting. It's not the same. Moving on, or living on, which I like better, is simply giving us the permission to live, continue to move forward by carrying the memories of those that we cherish deeply. We have to give ourselves the permission to live on. And Violet received that explicit permission from the mother. And it's such a gracious thing to say, because remember, the mother said that he's alive. He is inside of all of our hearts. And it might be heavy, it might be burdensome, but I will always love him. I will never let go. And that's also the sacrificial love of a maternal love, which we saw between Anne and her mother, right? With the 50 years of letter writing. So this episode is not just this episode, but that scene, which I think parallels the entire ethos of the show, where I think the show is not just about brokenness. It's not just about complicated grief disorder that I talked about. It's not just about complex PTSD. Yes, that's in part of this show, but it just hit me now. I think the show is actually more through the suffering, through the tragedies, to actually highlight the beauty of love. This show is so masterfully displaying the different dimensions of love. The paternal love that represents Gilbert and Violet, the maternal love between Gilbert's mother and Gilbert, and Anne and her mother, and so on. Right? Another paternal love is Hudgens, and because Hudgens took Violet in, and so on. And brotherly love between Gilbert and his brother, because the mother said they used to be very close, and we saw the portrait. There's so many different dimensions of love, and they're all beautiful in this show. And because, again, love is a sacrificial act. And I think the authors and Kyoto Animation Studio really, really powerfully used the tragedies and the sorrow and the heartbrokenness of this show to really spotlight the power of encompassing love. And it is such well done. Amazing. Wow. Mutual forgiveness. I think Gilbert's brother forgave Violet. Wow. Live. Oh.
生きて生きて
Goosebumps.
そして死ねこれが俺からの最後の命令。
もう命令はいりません。
Wow. Wow, Violet. Full body goosebumps. Holy moly guacamole, dude.
俺が捨てた道具を
Wow.
ギルベルトは道具として扱わなかった。だからそれは両腕を失い主を失ってもあいつからもらった大切なものを
Wow.
決して
Oh, so that's poetic
なくす
AF.
ことはないだろう。
That scene, Gilbert's brother saying that, is him forgiving Violet. Live on. I'm guessing Violet is writing her first and the most important letter in her life to Gilbert, which foreshadows the final closure, the full closure for Violet. CH Postal Office.
本当いい天気になってよかった。
Beautiful weather, beautiful healing. Look at Leah.
来られたのね。自分の手
Yes,
紙
Violet. You blossomed.
そっか。私も書いたわ。
Wow.
大殿一いや大陸一のドールになってる自分に
Oh, amazing scene.
最近好きな人ができたので
Hmm?
その人に気持ち
Love letter?
誰ですか
俺が社長になるって
お前
やめてやめろ
パパ
Oh,
が君が
happy
生まれる
ending.
のを待っ君がすくすく育つことを
No more war.
争いのない
the air letter, they literally just flying the letters. Whoa.
空から降ってきます
Wow. Goosebumps. This is nuts.
バイオレット
Wow.
少佐
Wow.
親愛なるギルベルト少佐お元気ですか
Quick pause before Violet reading the letter because there's so much in that scene. I don't want to lose my thoughts. I want to start backwards. So that scene of the dialogue of them all standing together, which finishes with the scene of the letter flying. Do you know what that's a callback. That's parallel with the first letter that Violet tried to write in the hospital that flew away in the wind through the window. That flew across the sky, through the cities, through their portals to kickstart the show. It's the same scene. But this time, she actually finished the letter. It's a finished letter to Gilbert versus unfinished letter because Violet was struggling with letter writing with her injuries when she was in bedside in the hospital. That's one. Amazing. Second, all the letters and all the content of the letter writing that everyone shared is actually a completion and finishing of their unfinished businesses and unfinished desires. A few things. Iris wrote that she wrote a letter to become the #1 doll. That's a callback to her episode, right? Her dream of being #1, the conflict that she went through with her parents, the arranged marriage, and Violet being the center of that to bring reconciliation and healing for them through letter writing. Erica, her letter of writing to someone that she likes, obviously we saw who it is, right? Still the same guy that I forgot the name of. I apologize since I didn't know his name in episode 12 and I'm recording this episode together, so I still don't know his name. But yeah, so that this love letter writing to him, which is what? Erica became a doll because of her love for novels, romantic novels. Remember the scene where she was walking outside the window, where she was looking at the stuff inside, like the dolls, the romance and stuff? So her writing a love letter is a completion of her own genesis and the origins of her becoming an auto-memory doll, right? The Hudgens, I'm not sure since we never shared his unfinished business, but in episode 12, we saw Hudgens looking back at a father hugging his daughter after hearing Papa across the street. Because remember I said I thought that was Hudgens' child because I didn't know he has a child, and evidently he doesn't. But even through that quick scene, since Hudgens didn't get a lot of camera time in the last episode 12 and 13, but he wrote a finished letter of a wishing and yearning for his future child. Although comically, Catalia reading his letter from the trash is a gross violation of privacy. It's a huge invasion of his privacy. But of course, that was used in a comical yet wholesome way to depict the collective wish of a happy, loving life for everyone. And to close that out, like I said, that scene of everyone standing under the raining letters at the port is a finally culmination. And it's the accumulations of all the beautiful emotional journey, developments, and healing and reconciliation, and ultimately reconnecting with our unfinished business, with our broken selves. And we saw that all together. So that short scene encompasses literally everything and the crescendo moment that I've been asking for of this entire series so far.
変わ
Wow.
りないですか
Now it's Violet reading the
どこ
letter.
にいらっし
He's stress-free.
いくつも季節が過ぎましたが
Yes.
少佐のいらっしゃる季節だ何一つ分かりませんでした。でも少佐にいただいたこの新しい人生の中で
Yes, she did.
少しだけですが 出会った方
It's
たち
Oscar
を通し
Webster's
て
cabin. All the places she's been. All the flashbacks and callbacks of significant
私は
sceneries from the
信じてい
series.
る 生きて
Parasol,
生きて
Oscar Webster's
その先に
website or the
何
episode.
があるかわからなくても
The typewriter that started everything.
また会え
The
たら
vehicle for healing and letter
こう
writing.
伝えたいのです
Oh, Violet
私は
Violet flower fields.
愛してるも
Letter on top of the violet flower. Wow. Full closure. Yep, finally.
少しはわかるのです
She knows what he means and she loves Gilbert back. She also loves Gilbert. Wow. Wow. Oh, violet flower. Wow. So before we finish the episode, just a few significant highlights. The letter that was flying away from that port scene earlier with the whatever flying letter day, it landed on a field of violet flowers. And I actually looked up the meaning of violet flower because of the show, obviously. Violet flower means three things: modesty, faithfulness, and spiritual maturity. All those three pillars, which is the meaning of violet flower, what do we realize? That Violet tapped into the self-actualization right here, Maslow's hierarchy. In terms of Maslow's hierarchy triangle, the highest stage is self-actualization, actualizing and living out our potential and our purpose. Violet went from soldier who lives out her life strictly through order following, having no identity, being nameless herself before Gilbert gifted her the identity of a Violet, and of course Evergarden through the Evergarden family. 2, she self-actualized her new potential and her new purpose of living freely, being the stellar exemplary auto memory doll that's become famous because of her amazing letter writing ability. So that's the significance of the letter falling on top of the violet. Her two new identities merging in one. The letter, of course, is the auto memory doll, and the flowers are, of course, her name matching herself, which was also the wish of Gilbert. And her finally recognizing and finally actualizing her mission, why she became a memory doll to begin with, to decipher and to understand what did Gilbert meant when he said, "I love you." And now with the end of the series, with the end of episode 13, she finally understood, with her tears dropping down when she finished the letter writing, that I finally understood what it meant of "I love you." Because now it's bi-directional, it's both ways. Just as Gilbert loved Violet, now she can finally reciprocate and return that sentiment of "I love you" back. And remember, guys, the totality of love and emotions and meaningful relationships and memories transcends the finality of time and space and life and death. And what a beautiful way and what a beautiful scene of Violet reading out loud her letter content for the viewers, for us to simmer and for us to enjoy and witness this beautiful crescendo moment together. And with her tearing down at the end is a remark of her finally achieving her connecting with her own emotions, not just connecting the emotions of other people, but the emotions of her own, articulating how she feels, not for other people, but for herself. she has finally become a whole, complete human person to be free, just as Gilbert's wished. What a beautiful scene. Oh my goodness. Wow. The starry sky, the Milky Way galaxy. Wow. Oh, I was wondering what that spark was in that tear. It's a fire. It's a spark of fire in that tear. And the fire faded and dissipated before the tear hit the violet flower, because fire represented the chaos and the destructions of Violet's old identity to now became this water, which represents renewal and healing by breaking into the flower of violets. Holy crap, another symbolism. In the CH postal office, where Violet's new journey, new identity began. Wow. And here she goes. Benedict, that's his name. I'm sorry, Benedict, I forgot your name. I love Egg Benedict. I can't believe I forgot Benedict, bro. I'm sorry, bro. Oh, man. Yes. 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 The auto memory doll and I love you. Wow. The parasol gifted by Oscar. Is she going to revisit Gilbert's grave as a final completion of healing? Oh no, it's service seeking. Oh, it's okay, never mind, service seeking. Man. Violet Evergarden. Who is it?
Violet Evergarden.
Who is it? No, who is it? No. Why did she pause? Who did she see? Wow. Wow. What an amazing episode and the finish to this amazing show. Wow. I'm really glad that I decided to combine episode 12 and 13 because I think it was really seamless. And I hope you enjoyed this. How long is this recording? An hour and a half recording. So we'll see how long it is after post editing. But to all the seekers, sponsors, and supporters, please, I hope you enjoyed this unedited, an hour and a half version of the final 2 episodes to complete and to close out Violet Evergarden. And to anyone else, if you enjoy my final analysis of the last 2 episodes and the season finale of Violet Evergarden, please smash that thumbs up. I really pour my heart out, as you can tell. I was attacked relentlessly by the onion slicing ninjas. I've taken up countless wounds from these ninjas for you guys. So please smash that thumbs up and share this episode with one friend. Spread the love, but also spread the algorithm. And as always, till next time, peace.